Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to a special birthday edition of Worth Collecting. Today we'll be playing one of my favorite games. So, the answer to the question is yes, this one is worth collecting, and that would be Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So, this is my copy. It's in bad shape. That is not the original cover art because in the PlayStation version of the game, the cover art is the manual. So, mine's in bad shape. I've had this game for a long time, and at one point I used to just read the book because I like the game that much. Yes, I am that big of a geek. But Castlevania is one of my most favorite series of games. So this game came out in 97 on the PlayStation and 98 on the Sega Saturn, but only in Japan. So there are several different versions of this game. It's been re-released numerous times. So you could play it on the PlayStation 4 in the they have a Castlevania set there. Like I said, it's just been re-released so many times on Xbox. It's been ported to the Xbox as the PlayStation 1 version. The one that came out on PlayStation 4 is like a reworked, ported version of the Japanese Sega Saturn version, which has different playable characters. So depending on which version you get, it may cost more or less to collect it. So in this situation, I'm playing the PlayStation 1 game. I've had this game since it came out. And going right now, the price is, I want to say, $65 loose. It's about $130, $140 complete, and about $400 new. That's the PlayStation 1 version. So mine's probably worth, I don't know, 90 bucks, give or take. Not that I would ever sell it, because I'm missing the book and my box is in poor condition. Although I could probably, ship the artwork over to another box and make it look pretty. Again, I normally don't play my PlayStation 1 version because I have ported versions of it. And I can just boot it up on my PlayStation 4 whenever I feel like it, or actually my PlayStation 5 in this situation. I also have a copy of it on my Vita, because it's one of those games that I go to and play. It is kind of frustrating to play on the Vita because you're missing some buttons you need, but it is what it is. So, you know how we do this. We're going to play the game for about an hour, cut it down to about 15 minutes, and give you a review of the game and what I like about it. And we'll go from there. Castlevania is one of those great games. The music, the gameplay, like the original ones on the Nintendo, just considered to be some of the more difficult action platformers. And just fun to play. The music is great. So I have a save game on here already, and you see my completion percentage is 144.9. Well, how can you complete more than 100% of the game? Just an awesome game. The length of the game is great. It's got like secret endings and stuff. So replay value very high on this one, but we're going to start a new game here. Mid-management gamer, and go. So, you actually play in this game as Alucard, which is Dracula's Dampiel's son. And it takes place sometime after Dracula 3. This is a direct sequel to Rondo of Blood. We get Dracula's castle here. Gotta love these PlayStation 1 graphics. I mean, they were innovative when it came out. This, along with Super Metroid, are considered the two games that coined the term Metroidvania, just due to the amount of exploration, play style. Several games that have come out have used that term to describe them. This is where you get it from. I love Super Metroid. I have that on the Super Nintendo. We might do a video on that at some point. Definitely worth playing. If you haven't, we'll decide whether it's worth collecting at that time. Had some technical difficulties there. So you start the game off as Richter. So you play the last boss fight from the original game. And you have you do backflips. You can hold the whip down so you can move it around. Yeah. That was first introduced in the Super Nintendo version, Super Castlevania. And we got this great dialogue here.
Die, monster.
How about you? There's several different ways you can do this. You cannot lose this fight. Even if you get all your life knocked off, Maria will appear and save you. Oop. Dang, I thought I was going to pull a no-hit. Oh well. I'm just getting reckless. That's okay. One more hit and... See? There she is. Now it's, I'm invulnerable now. And it does a Polaroid. And then the Polaroid burns. Oh yeah. So much like 80s, 90s action going on here. And then we get our backstory that kind of sets up the game. Basically, it was like on last episodes of Days of Our Castlevania. This one is, like I said, kind of recaps Rondo of Blood, so you know where you're starting. If you're a fan of the Castlevania series, what's your favorite? It's a toss-up for me between... I mean, this is number one, of course, but if I had to pick one that wasn't this, it would probably be a toss-up between Bloodlines, which has an interesting character with a lance that he can spin around. No whip action there. There's a whip character you can play with, but Curse of Darkness is the one that kind of the anime goes along to. A lot of the characters from the anime are in that one. Or I shouldn't say anime, it's really a Netflix series, but it's got an anime style to it. You know what I mean. Whatever. But in that one, Curse of Darkness, you play as a demon forger, and you basically can summon monsters to help you, and there's a lot of different weapons you can forge, and it changes your playstyle and your combos. That one's a 3D action platformer, but still follows the Metroidvania style, like you go through and you have to unlock items to go back to other items. This game also kind of introduced a trope with, you know, starting out OP and then having your stuff removed from you. You have magical abilities you can use, like I can summon ghost spirits. It's not Castlevania without food hidden in walls. Alright. And another staple, death. Death and Dracula have a partnership. Dracula gives him much to keep him busy. And now I have a crappy cloak. And so, all my equipment was taken. My attack, all that is down to next to nothing. Secrets everywhere. Those give you heart max up. Heart is used to power your sub-weapons, which I don't have one yet, but we'll get one soon. So you collect collectibles that take your life up, your magic up, your heart up. And now I have a short sword. Equip that. Not nearly as powerful as my old sword. And that is blocked. So as you see, as you make your way through the castle, you will unlock more passageways to get through. This is how he saves. You got this weird dice. Now, if you played Baldur's Gate, it kind of reminds me of the mystical item from Baldur's Gate 3 that's protecting you, which is basically a dice. This would be a 20-sided die, I believe. But it turns into a coffin. And if you've played the newest Dead Cells, which I enjoy the heck out of that, because that's a rogue Metroidvania style game, they added Castlevania to it as DLC. And when you run into Alucard, he comes out of a coffin like that. And we got this thing right here, the Cube of Zoe. So if you go to your relics, you can see the ones that you've unlocked, and they tell you what they do. This one makes items materialize. So until you have this, you don't start receiving items from candles, I believe. You see this is blocked off, can't get through there yet. Whenever you get to a new place for the first time, it'll tell you what it is. And we got some armor. So if you do this just right, you can get up there early. See, there's an elevator and it lifts up and down. You got to time it just right, though. There's all sorts of ways to get to places early and secrets if you know how to do them. So now that guy is keeping the switch down. He'll stand up and get off the switch, and then you can make the jump. And that gives you the Basilard, which doesn't do as much. It does a little bit more damage. It doesn't do as much damage as the short sword, but it attacks really fast. So, less reach, faster attack, better for taking on slow enemies. I leveled up. And you can do this spell, which Dracula was doing earlier. If you hit up and then a Hadouken motion from a fireball motion from Street Fighter. And then you can teleport and then shoot fireballs. So, which is useful, I guess, sometimes. And we got our shield. So, moving on. As you unlock the spells, it'll tell you how to do them. So these are the ones that I've done so far. There's scrolls you can buy that give you the motions. I know most of the useful ones off the top of my head because I've played this game so many times. I almost never use the shield. But with the dagger, you see I can't stab at the ground. So I'll equip a sword in my other hand so I can do the downward attack. And that's life max up, so now I have more life. Up in the top corner there, you see the 78 is my life, the blue bar is my magic, and the 56 is my hearts. And to the right of it is the dagger, which I can throw ding, like so. And we got a boss fight. You can tell because the door's shut. And here they are. That would have been a good time to have the shield in place, but I don't. That's okay. Easy boss fight. And then, like every boss fight, you'll get extra life. The old school Castlevania games, that causes like a little orb to drop when you kill the bad guy, and you life up and all that jazz. And you have select, you hit the map, you can see where I've been in blue, you can see doorways in the white barriers that I haven't been through. The red is the save points. You can see that there is stuff I missed up above me in this room, but I can't very well get to that yet. Those little zombies explode into gouts of blood. Pretty cool. Exploration, really there's no wrong way to play this game. You will find sometimes that you end up going down a passageway and finding out that it's impossible to get through that way because you don't have the item required to do so, like the Jewel of Open that unlocks blue doors. You gotta be able to open blue doors to get past them, so obviously you can't go that way. Alright, so right takes you to the boss room I just came from. We could also go left. Nope, can't go left. There's one of those blue doors I was speaking of. It's magically sealed. So, until you reach a certain point, you can only really proceed in one direction. Then avenues of choice open to you. Oh, that's a cool sub-weapon. This is the diamond. There's a door. Doors lead you to other areas or warp zones. As you proceed through the castle, you'll find little warpy things. And this is the marble gallery. Woo! That dude does massive amounts of damage. So you see I'm down to 15 life. Now is an opportunity to use a potion or a pot roast or a turkey. Turkey. So if you want to get some money to buy stuff at the library, this is a good hallway to go through. Teleport past that guy. I'm not messing with him. We're going to move on. Alright, we wrap back around over to here. So, different equipment is better suited to take out different enemies. There it is. So, that's one of the Soul Steel. You need 50 MP to cast it, which is how much MP I have currently. So it'll take every bit of my magic to cast it. What Soul Steel does is it hits everything on the screen and refills your life with their life force. 8 life per hit. And you see, I just got a circlet. This is awesome. So one of the cool things about this game is all enemies have a chance to drop items. Some of them are health items, some of them are equipment, some of them are just one-time usable things. In this situation, that was the marionette. She dropped a circlet. So putting on the circlet lowers my defense but raises my intelligence to 16. Bloop.
You seem human, and yet, what do you here?
What do you hear? I mean, who translated this? She's the other playable character. You can play her in the PlayStation 4 version or in the original Sega Saturn Japanese version.
The talkative type, I can see.
The Sega Saturn
Perhaps we'll meet again.
version
Live that long.
made the director unhappy. It was poorly made. It didn't do the transparent effects right. They stretched the sprites. They didn't use the system properly. They just poorly made the game. The PlayStation version, although doesn't have as much as the Sega Saturn version as far as like unlockables and whatnot, was considered a superior game. I'll teleport past him. He does massive amounts of damage. So here's a secret. Got this pot roast in this wall here, and if you duck down for a long enough period of time, just when you think nothing's going to happen and you're about to give up, nothing happens. So what do we have here? We have the Jewel Knuckles and the Mirror Cuirass. It's a doppelganger. He's got all the abilities I have. He avoided my Soul Steel. And he goes back in a bloody mess. Sometimes you can't move on until you do a boss fight in exploration like this one right here, because you can't actually get up to... See, I wouldn't be able to make this jump from down there to come up. And you see there's a mouse over there. Elevator's open. Soul of Wolf. So, you have to... Now I can transform him into a wolf because I have the Soul of Wolf. I'm a wolf. Which leads to this teleport chamber. And the first time you use it, it unlocks this room that we couldn't get into earlier. So now we have a shortcut. You notice when you get in, it sucks in everything else in the room, takes it with you. Clunk. So there's also this enemy list. These are all the enemies I've fought so far. So we were fighting the dirhams. You see, drop items is the high cuirass, and the rapier is the other one. But if you want to do completion on this game, you can go through and try to figure out what the question mark is for everyone. So, you also have tactics you can buy that shows you how to fight enemies you've already fought without getting hit. You can sell gems that you've found to get more money.
I'm interested in this.
I need to buy the Jewel of Open. That opens the blue doors. Library card will allow me to come back here, which will be useful later. A castle map shows you areas, not all of them, but some of them. And we're Alright, so now when I go to the castle map, you can see all this map. Now there's a lot more to the map than what's showing on here, but it gives you an idea of where you can go. Alright, so that was our gameplay on Symphony of the Night, Castlevania. Probably one of my all-time most favorite games. So, worth collecting? Yes. You have tons of different options on this one. Like if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money and get one of the really old ones, like the Saturn version or whatnot, which the loose Saturn version again runs about $150. It's a little bit rarer. There's a European version, which for the PlayStation, which goes for like $100 loose. The original American version, North American version of the PlayStation version goes for about $60 loose, or 100 and some bucks complete. So if you don't want to spend that much money, you can spend like 30 or 40 bucks, or even I don't know how much it goes for on the PlayStation Store now, but you can get it's a compilation of a whole bunch of different Castlevania games, and this one's on there. And if you buy the PlayStation 1 version on the PlayStation Store, you can play it on your PlayStation Vita if you still have one. You can play it on your PlayStation 3 if you have it. I think it's streamable in the PlayStation Store. I'm not 100% sure on that. So if you're like a purist like me and you don't want to use an emulator, you can get a non-emulated copy that plays on other systems, ports. So if you want to play this game, because it's an awesome game. Again, some of the cool elements of this game is a very large map. And not to give away anything, but this is only half of the map. I'm not even talking about the stuff that's not viewed on here, but after you play through all this, you can actually get more than 100% if you do certain tasks. So you have a whole nother map you can go to. So long-term playability, outstanding. You can do grind. Unlock all the different weapons. If you want a 100% game, if you're a completionist, there's tons to do. You have different forms. You want to play as vampire, you can turn into a wolf, you can turn into a bat, you can turn into a mist. Those are all, you can power them up. There's familiars I haven't unlocked yet, little creatures that follow you around and do stuff for you, like a fairy, a ghost, a sword. The sword you can actually level up to the point where you can wield it, and it does a lot more damage than a lot of other weapons. It's just, like I said, overall, it's just an awesome game to play, a lot to do, a lot to explore, so many different weapons you can equip, and really, change how your playstyle works. Like, I'm using these jewel knuckles. I think they're awesome, but I could just as easily use this Gladius or this Basilard. You can, awesome game. Different spells, unlockable characters. After you beat the game, you can play through the game as Richter. If you are more of a Belmont fan, you want to do some whip action, more power to you. But worth collecting, absolutely. And you have a pick of price, so you don't even have to break the bankroll. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to like, share, add, and hit the bell for notifications of content I drop weekly. And who knows what the next game will be. We'll see you then. Good day.